Die Rolling. We are on episode 2 of season 2 of the Star Engine. Thank you everyone for joining us. We've been 2 years out of the game minus last week, so please forgive any rustiness, of which there will be an abundance. We have with us tonight 4 brave adventurers playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition.
3 brave adventurers.
3
brave adventurers.
Zola may be brave today.
Yeah, that's true.
It's maybe the day.
Fair point, valid point. So I think what we do about this time, traditionally, welcome to any long-term friends, or welcome to any new visitors that we have with us today. Hopefully we tell an exciting story full of mishaps and japes.
Have you got some thank yous from last week?
I have got, thank you for reminding me. I have got some thank yous from last week. We haven't yet got our Streamlabs connection working due to incompetence. So thank you to all our new subscribers. I think we had 7 or 8 new subscribers last week. Really appreciate that. It should have popped up on screen and said a thank you. And apologies we didn't say at the time. We really appreciate that. It all keeps us. It keeps us clothed.
Yeah,
your contributions.
Don't tell
So
them
just
that.
just remember that. That's a threat. So thank you very much. Also, we have our first of season 2, Dragoony Doodle.
Dragoony Doodle.
So, do we have it? Where is it? I put
Emma's.
it.
What's Emma done with it?
She already put it up on the wall.
Why did she pull it?
Oh, it's already on the wall.
It's right
Is it in
on the
shop?
wall.
Can I pull it down?
Oh, hang on.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Try not
Put
to
it
bring
down.
everything else off with it, though.
Yeah.
Like the wallpaper.
So for those who are unaware, you wonderful people do drawings of our world, which we really love, because it makes it all come to life. These little crazy stories and ideas that we all create, and you do these fabulous drawings for us. So this one was done by the lovely Animancer,
Our very own now.
our very own, yeah, she's as good as is these days. Who's most likely on stream.
She certainly is.
And this is a picture from the original season of Thorinir, Nolus and Malkin attempting to cook in the home.
Succeeding to cook.
And
After a
at
fashion.
one point in time, they cracked an egg of a giant baby eagle, of which we can see that beautifully depicted here.
Very
it's one of my
difficult.
favourites, Anna. Thank you very much for this.
It's very difficult trying to cook a meal while being savaged by a baby eagle.
It went wrong. That one will be added to our list. It'll be added to the wall
To the wall.
behind us.
To the
It's
wall.
filling up.
To the wall.
Spend 2 days in the tree. That's where I was when this was happening.
Yeah, if you'd like to do any of your own Dragoony Doodles, then please join us on @DieRollingUK, found on Twitter. The address will be coming up in the bottom corner at some point in time, and post us some pictures because we bloody love them. We do.
We do.
On that note, I think it's time for the first. Well, what the hell do we call it now? The first of season 2.
It would be Claire's collaboration, but obviously that's not going to be right. Felix's kerfuffle. There you go.
That'll do.
That's some
That'll do.
inspiration. Felix's
Kerfuffle.
I did not remember that I was doing this.
Yeah,
That's
you
the
were,
thing
yeah.
I do. Last session, we started off with Malcolm waking in his family home. The bed was small, the man was big. He had a look around and eventually stumbled upon, having got his wits about himself, upstairs
In the loft.
in the loft, Thorinir, who was tied up and under a bed sheet or a blanket or something.
Hessian sack, maybe.
It was very strange. Everyone was disorientated. Malcolm's quite weak. He. Thank you very much.
Carry on. I'm just adjusting.
No, please. Malcolm was very weak. He's just been in a 2-year coma, so he's not feeling great. And Thorinir also agrees because he has no. Which muscles does he
The
have?
calves.
The calves.
No calves.
Only the calves have gone. So that was good. And
I don't know if I was making that clear. It's through lack of use. No one stole my calves. They're just withered from 2 years of not
Is
living.
that a thing you can do? That would be amazing. So,
It's a very strange form of cattle wrestling.
yeah, calves.
Stealing his calves.
So the two of them were very disorientated, and the disorientation was further added to by the discovery of a dog downstairs, who told them that they had a pest problem because some little creatures, little goblin creatures called brownies, had stolen Malkin and Thorinir's packs and smashed out the window in the loft and ran off. So much confusion was had by all. The dog said that he was, the dog called Felix, said that he was here for the little man, which is Zolan, and Zolan eventually appeared through the front door and was shocked and happy to see that two of his friends had woken up. He asked about Claro, but Claro had gone missing. He was meant to be sleeping in the same room that Felix was also having a nap in, but he wasn't there. So the group caught up with Zolan. He had been having a horrible time cleaning those in comas for 2 years, but also having some card games with his best friends. So, now gathered back together, they started talking, and then we had Elantrix appear, knocked on the front door, and she is a member of a group of people you've described as the Augurs, who are in town.
Yeah.
And she's actually quite friendly with Zolan.
The only sensible one,
Yeah.
They seem to have taken over the town.
And they caught up. They discussed the fact that it was strange that a talking dog was now in the house, and the group split apart. And kind of Felix tried to show Elantrix how good he was with a sword, and she was probing him for what his backstory was, but he was not going to give it away. And the other lot kind of discussed what the plan was, essentially. The silence was broken by more knocking at the door. More brownies. Zolan went to go and see, with another pack, stealing more kit. We believed it to be Clary's pack. And they ran off, threw it down a well, and then went on. They were horrible and annoying little goblin-y things. So the group eventually agreed to finally head out of the building, and with Felix's help, sending him down the well, managed to retrieve the pack. So we joined the group with Elantrix in the courtyard, I believe, with the pack, or maybe in the house.
I think we made it back to the house, I think.
Ready to go. And that is Felix's kerfuffle. It was a kerfuffle this week.
Excellent. Author.
Thank you kindly, Felix, for your kerfuffle. And so, let's get the music going, guys. Hey? Oh, hang on.
It's usually an intro.
Sometimes we have an intro.
I've been desperate to eat this phyllo parcel, which is going to be very noisy.
Yeah.
So if you could just give me...
You've got to eat it in
just
the
one
time
intro.
of the intro.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Hello, boys. Pink lemonade?
Mom!
Nailed it.
And we're back.
As if nothing had happened.
Every time. We're still mastering our audio levels for those of you who are on there. If they're all over the place, which they might well be, because we've got barely anyone monitoring them, just let us know in chat, and Felix will sort any issues for us.
I will. I'm very good with audio.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Wonderful hearing, I imagine.
Yeah. Dog use.
So back in Malkin's family living area, in the town of Wick, where you were raised, where you spent your childhood and your teenage years, you find yourself surrounded by Thorinir, the wood elf, Zolan the gnome, Felix the fur knight, and Atlantarix the augur of Knell, here sat in your living room. She unfurls a large cotton cloth, unrolls it, which she's produced from a pack of hers, a leather pack. She, from within the roll, she produces a weapon. She produces a kind of mace, maybe 2 to 3 feet long. She looks at it, picks it up. It's clearly a very heavy head, and studies it as you're all looking at Clara's pack, which has been brought through into the living room. As you see the mace completely come away from this cloth, you see the just beauty of this thing. It's incredible. This weapon is amazing. It has a squared off, misty, metallic, dark metal shaft with a rounded, black, swirling, vortex-like pattern to the grip. The head is a hollowed pentagonal prism without faces. It's 5 hollowed flanges, as if comprised of the skeleton of 5 golden dragon wings. This hollowed out mace with these dragon wings, sort of spines and 5 points around it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Which are joined together at its apex, so it's kind of completely hollow, but for these ribbed spines. This beautiful, amazing weapon. She looks at it. She takes the cloth and she just starts to polish this weapon, the gold and the metallic handle, as you guys are there, stood around her in the living room.
Is there a fire going in this living room? Is there any heat source at all?
So, have you been maintaining a fire?
No. Other things to worry about.
Felix is drenched from head to toe. He's still very wet. So he's sort of shivering, sword laying out on the cobbles.
I think lighting a fire in the hearth would be a good idea.
Sure.
It's going to take us a month to do that.
Does anyone have any tinder or anything similar?
We can smash the coffee table.
Your family coffee
My
table.
family coffee table. I don't think so, somehow.
It's okay, you can just roll me up in like a blanket or something. I'll be fine.
Well, a fire would be a good idea. You can go up into the bedroom and get a blanket if you want. Go and grab a blanket.
Okay.
I'm going to go out to the wood store, see if there's any wood
Okay, sure. So
around the side of the house.
you egress the building back into that main street. Again, there's a few of these augurs around the square. The augurs of Knell that have been described to you, all wearing these white, long, flowing clothes. Some of them are robes, some of them more open-fronted, more like coats. Some are hooded, some aren't. There's a colour scheme without there being a traditional uniform, as it were. You walk round to the side of your house and look into the wood store. Zolan, is there any wood in the wood store?
No wood in the wood store.
No wood in the
I've
wood
sold
store.
the wood in the wood store.
Oh boy.
Have you broken up the wood store?
I haven't, no. I actually haven't broken up the wood store yet. Yeah.
So when he was leaving for the wood store, he just didn't think to mention it.
Not yet, no. It's been a while. It's been a strange day.
It certainly has been a strange day. My head is all over the shop on this. There's so many questions, so many things going on. So I'm standing here looking at an empty wood store
Made of wood?
made of wood. I'm going to deliver onto the side of the wood store a hefty kick and break a few splinters of wood off, just enough to get a small fire going. I'm
Give me
just.
an attack roll.
I need
This is
to,
the first attack roll of the series.
I'm going to grab some dice.
Against the shed.
Again, I managed to forget my dice.
We have a bag of bags of dice to teach people.
Grabbing a bag of dice, of which was
a
two
D20 and two
D4s.
D6s.
Excellent.
That should get you through.
That'll do me. Yeah. So, well, I've got a D20. That'll do me for now. So that is a solid 14. Add my dex for attacks, so that's 17.
And unarmed.
Oh yes, my unarmed. God, it's been a long time since I did this. I can't remember how I'm supposed to do this.
Is a monk proficient in unarmed?
Yes.
Sure, there you go. So add your proficiency bonus as well.
Add my proficiency bonus. So that's.
Don't ask that.
That's 20.
Yeah.
20. 20. You've successfully hit the shed and happily knocked a few splinters off it.
Right.
Your monk powers don't seem to have completely lost you.
Jolly good.
He's
I
celebrating that.
probably shouldn't have added all those bonuses to it, really, should I? Because I'm still weakened from.
Oh, it is a disadvantage though, so you have to roll twice.
Yeah, you take damage.
Yeah, because you are all still malnourished.
Oh, look at the collection of
and
dice in
exhausted
here.
from your 2-year
Loads
sleep.
of dice in this bag.
He's been sleeping for like a week.
Right. Okay. Well, that one's an 18. Plus
Fine.
and plus
Yeah,
and plus.
you've more than it. Yeah, you've taken off a good chunk of the wall, your family woodshed, and
I thought you were going to say his family would be proud.
At this point of the day, I just want to do stuff because.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the wood back in. There used to be a box of matches above the hearth. Is there a box of matches above the hearth?
There's not a box of matches above the hearth. Zolan's taken to smoking a pipe and he's been extremely stressed out. And he's probably got them in a pocket.
Have you got any matches on you, Zolan?
Which you'll check. And I think there's 2 left, but they're pretty brittle.
Oh lordy! Right,
I'll throw the pack across the room.
I'm gonna stack the wood in the hearth and attempt to light a fire.
So we'll take
Please
a little
tell
bit,
me I'm not going
it'll
to
take
have
a
to
little
roll
bit
any
of time,
dice
so,
for this.
Yeah, you'll be down. You can be down lighting a fire briefly. What are the 3 of you doing?
Before he even gets that match, I'm just gonna emerge the sound of crackling fire from my mouth and just druidcraft a little flame into the fireplace while just like direct eye contact.
At this point, I'm contemplating going back to bed. It's been a very long day.
Have you got any kindling in that fire? Just for future precedence.
Yes.
Okay. There is some kindling in there. You're okay. I will let you light the fire.
Well, it says here a small campfire.
Okay.
That's pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
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 You can light or snuff out a candle, a torch, or a small campfire.
What
There
a
you go.
skill.
Yeah.
Nice.
Happy.
Well done.
So yeah.
I don't think I've ever used that in any kind of
Nice.
real sense before.
Yeah,
That's
there you
the falling leaf spell.
Yeah, that is the main use of that spell. So yeah, this little fire it starts off small and eventually starts to
Pile on a
crackle
bit,
from
pile on a
yes,
bit
mate.
more of
You've
the
been
infrastructure of the house and.
Beautiful ASMR.
It's very realistic. Yeah, this is the new ASMR channel. We will be tagging that later. Yeah. There was some discussion about going into a hot pool, but yeah. Right.
So Felix will be like, "Oh, thank you for it, Thorny. Thank you so much," and he will lie down on the floor and then just roll over towards the fire until he's correctly warm. Yeah.
What's Salem up to?
He's probably had to sit down on the sofa, to be honest. Just take
You haven't
it in.
sold that then?
Not yet, no. Nobody wants to buy it. It's all got holes in it. It's a bit old and dusty. Moths.
As you're all talking there, Elantrix is just taking more items out from her pack. She has some books, some various rolled up objects, maybe some clothing, little bits of twine and some money, just bits and pieces. And she's just sort of looking through what she's got there, sort of studying it, and then seeming to kind of repack her bag.
What are you going to do with all that stuff?
Why do you ask, dog?
I really like the look of your mace. It's not as big as my sword. It's not as cool as my sword, but it looks pretty good.
She holds it a little closer to you as you say that. This is my gear. What are you going to do with that sword, dog?
Oh, absolutely nothing at all. Other than kill my foes, but there's that. Are you an adventurer like us?
Why are we even...
Well, I was going to ask, why are you here, Elantrix? What brings you to my house on this rather odd day?
I'm one of the Augurs of Knell. Has Zolan told you of us?
Briefly, yes. He said that you seem to have somewhat of a significant presence in the village.
That's a fair assessment.
Question: when your people arrived here, was the village abandoned?
Largely.
Do you know what happened to the villagers?
The villages...
Special. That's some brownies.
The villages were once human, they were once your home. And then the elves came and forced your people out.
Right. Do you know what happened to them?
There was a brief rebellion,
Mm-hmm.
very brief and swift, from what Ben tells me. I wasn't there, but
Name.
the humans were quickly pushed away.
Okay, I'm going to file that away for now.
You're not going to ask why? I feel like it's quite important. No?
Well,
Just me?
there was always some antagonism with the elves, so the whys are less important than the how, when, and what happened to them.
I cannot tell you what happened to them there. I know it was swift, and I know the resistance was quickly. Yeah.
Okay. And so, why have your people set up home here? What's the significance of this place to you?
This is our toxin. Toxin's our word for outpost. This is our base where we set up and spread our messages. This is our furthest southeast toxin that we have across Equa. We found this place. We saw it was relatively uncontested and that there was space for us to move in, and we decided to settle here. We use it as one of our hubs for outreach. It's close to the human region. This is where we set off from to spread our message.
Okay. And why are you, particularly you, here today? Why have you come to the house today?
I heard from the other Augurs that you had awakened.
Trying to remember the voice I done last week. I can't remember it. I'm sat here thinking.
To be honest, there was 3 or 4 different ones
Yeah,
that
it
you
does
did during
happen,
the
that
course
does.
of the day.
Yeah. I'll have to do 3 or 4 more.
What do you remember?
Absolutely nothing.
From when?
Well, from the last thing I remember was we were in combat and I was injured. We were all battered and barely surviving, and there was a huge flash of light, and then I don't remember anything until I woke up here.
And you?
remember loud bells. And
Before the explosion?
was that the explosion? That was the explosion. Bells.
You're thinking of the great knell, the chime.
I don't know. It was the loudest bell I've ever heard. I think I've heard bells before.
It was the knell. Am I right, Zolan?
Yes.
The great knell was loud. It was louder than I expected. It blew our fences down. It blew our stones down. But the purposes of it is the warning. It's designed for everyone to hear it. I don't think any of us quite appreciated just quite how devastating it would be.
So-
Apparently,
so
craters were left underneath it.
You were expecting this bell. You were expecting before it happened.
Yes.
You were expecting it.
It's called the Great Knell. The Great Knell is set above Spetakaza, a base as such of the Augurs of Knell, in the centre of the Elven region. The bell was constructed over many, many, many years by a huge number of Augurs and others. It was designed to be an alarm of sorts for Asher.
What were you alarming?
Well, dog, we were alarming.
She's not wrong.
We were alarming everybody. It's the duty of the Augurs. Have you not heard of us before?
I've heard a few things. Yeah. I mean, I don't get out there much, but
So the Augurs, we're scholars of history. People see us as zealots, as religious nutters. Your friend Zolan, I believe, thinks this way still.
Very true. Yes.
But we're... Do you know what history is?
Yeah.
Roll of history.
It's what I roll for when I'm asked to.
So history is a concept that we've been studying recently. Asher, nobody knows anything of Asher. The humans know what happens in the human towns. The elves know what happens in the elven regions and further. The gnomes know a little, the wood elves know only of their own area. Many races know only what the surrounding few miles around them have taught them over the years. But we believe the accumulation of different races, of different species, of different towns, of different peoples coming together and sharing their knowledge, we believe the accumulation of this information together can teach you, by bringing together the minds of many, the perspectives show you new things that you've not seen before.
So your people have taken it upon themselves to try and unite all these disparate peoples.
Unite is a strong word. Unite the accumulation of information that they have gathered over the years. Bring together the knowledge from these different regions. And we have learnt some very alarming, to use your word, dog, things. Hence the creation of the Knell. But look, this information is heavy and it's a lot, and I'm also aware that you've just awoken from a 2-year slumber.
Painfully aware of this at the moment.
Carefully cared for, might I add, by your dear friend Zolan, who deserves much thanks from you all.
We are very grateful.
Apart from the whole tying up thing.
It wasn't me.
I failed to see who else could have got Thoronet all the way up there in his unconscious state.
I am
It wasn't this talking dog.
I wasn't involved.
we have no means at all to feel ungrateful to Zolan for what he's done over the last couple of years. But there's a hell of a lot of questions that I have, and I'm sure everybody else has, about what's been going on.
And the questions you have, I'm sure, are the same questions we have. Let me introduce you to our Maru White. She's the leader of this toxin, the Maru of our toxin for the Augurs of Knell. Kind of the leader of our outpost, if you will. She's a strong woman. Zolan won't speak to her.
Awfully scary.
She's
You'll know in a moment.
intimidating. She's powerful. She's strong. But there's nobody in the world I trust more than her. She would love nothing more than to understand what you've learnt with your journeys in the human region. And I must be honest, I'm by her side. We all of the Augurs and all of Asher need to know of what happened.
Well, I don't know about you guys. And the dog Phoenix stretches, stands up. And he looks quite dry now. Wanders over to where the sword is on the floor. I know a little bit about history myself. Makes a sword over his shoulder. I know all about the most important history that there is. Heroes. Do you guys know anything about that?
You're addressing Atlantrix mainly.
Yeah.
Why do you keep addressing me like I'm your friend?
I have no reason to think you're not my friend.
But I have reason to think you're none of these people's friends, because they've told me such.
Well, I'm a mighty hero, so what are you going to do about that?
And the stories that I hear are that your friend Thorinir was found tied up.
Yes.
And I know I didn't do that, and I know Zolan didn't do that, and I would highly doubt that Malkin did that. And I also understand that you weren't here for the entire preceding 2 years, and none of these people know who you are.
I was asleep on the bed. And look how small these paws are. They're tiny. Can you see me tying a knot? No, I do not. It's a little joke. Anyway, I know loads about history. I'm going to tell you guys some real important history. And he kind of points his spare hand around the room. Do you guys know an important story about a man called Demric the Brave?
Denric the Brave?
It really rings a bell, that one.
It's an important story. Winks around. He's the greatest hero that ever lived. I'm going to be a whole lot like Demric the Brave. Do you know about Demric the Brave?
I do not.
Well, who's going to believe who, eh? He lacks logic in his argument. He was a mighty demon slayer. I'm going to slay demons just like Demric the Brave.
It's a good song about Denric the Brave.
I know, I've heard
Very
it.
good song.
I legitimately only remember the name.
There's a young boy in Brogar, I think, would sing about Denric the Brave right before a good contest of scragging. You remember them?
He's sort of nodding sagely, like maybe he knows what you're on about. Yeah.
Do you know the song?
No, well, I wouldn't be able to sing it very well. No, I don't. But I've heard stories of Demric the Brave from my keepers, and anyone that would tell me tales of heroes. He's a pretty big deal.
Pretty big deal.
I'm a pretty big deal.
Well, my memory is foggy with the 2 years, but we were heroes, right? In our time.
I think so. I mean, I think we did some things that were very important. I think.
Like a lot of murder.
Well,
Like a lot of murder of the innocent.
not innocent. I don't think.
No.
Do you know the 3 things that heroes should live by?
Do tell.
I think you probably do.
Suzanne, you used to repeat 3 words Over
I
and
did,
over
didn't I?
again.
I did. What
But
were those?
my brain is foggy.
I can't remember them now.
The first one is a tasty treat.
Bracken.
Sausages?
I don't like bracken, not like sausages. Come on, you can do this. If you're heroes, you know the three.
Sage.
One.
Sage, wisdom, and
Eight.
not courage, was it?
He counts them off on his paws. Sage.
Was it wisdom?
Wisdom, I think.
Was it courage? Wasn't courage? No. Was it courage?
Sage.
Was it courage?
Felix, in his lack of memory,
Sage, wisdom, and
tries
Felix.
to remember.
Doesn't
These
sound
three
right to me.
things.
You can make a history roll.
16 plus. His history is not good. 16 plus minus 1, 15.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
You go.
Virtue.
That's the
I
one.
remember.
Yeah. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt as he loves being a hero so much. Sage, leadership and virtue.
It's leadership. I remember now. Tasty sage. Pretty cool leadership. And you always need virtue.
Unfortunately, I
Excellent.
never knew what half of them meant anyway. I think leadership he got, but the other two.
Listen, some of you haven't eaten properly.
I was thinking along those lines. We need to sort out some
I
food.
know I haven't eaten either.
You had all the
No, there
stuff
was a
that
guy
was
who came
on
in.
the table.
I didn't do it. And he's got like
Yeah.
closer. He has like a little slight pot there.
And still some crumbs.
I'm assuming that there's no money left out of what Thorinir and I had in our packs before they were taken.
Malcolm!
Not that it makes any difference because the packs have gone.
I do apologise. It
I
was
mean-
only you I stole from.
I'm interested in seeing what this Mara White has to say.
Malcolm, you were always the first to steal from the dead. So
That's true.
I thought.
Once!
I do.
Once! Okay, we need to get some
It's not very virtuous.
supplies. Is there any money anywhere?
Maybe
Would I
stole
know?
6 gold from you. So what have you got on your sheet?
Oh,
He
it's
has
already-
no pack on him.
No, I've got no.
Can I make a food foraging check? It's one of the-
Survival check.
It's one of the traits
Go on,
is to forage for food, water with a wisdom check.
Okay. In the house.
Yeah.
Foraging.
And maybe a mild surrounding area.
Okay. Surrounding area.
Because we're all really hungry. So I think
While he's doing that, I'm going to have a look in Claro's pack.
Okay. What do we see in Clary's pack?
20.
Oh.
I'm looking for some.
24.
That's a natural 20.
Natural
Doesn't,
20.
doesn't, yeah.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
We
'cause-
eat the dog.
No.
Not his
Best
work
suggestion.
changed.
So there is 25 GP.
25 gold! How did you have so much money?
There's a packet of sand. Do you remember when we got that?
Yeah, that was in a bank.
Yeah.
We were,
Some
yeah, I remember that one.
common clothes,
It's now mud.
a knife, a poisoner's toolkit, some books, a case, some scrolls. You remember the scrolls?
Which are now soaked.
I didn't read the scrolls.
Yeah.
They were secret, they were.
There's sort of blanket, parchment. There's not a whole lot of other stuff in there. There's nothing you would say that was of like deep significance,
25 gold.
other than the
Significant.
magical scrolls and a poisonous kit and a herbalism kit.
Okay, I'm
Oh,
going.
and like a really rickety short sword, which you probably remember from combat.
I'm going to take a couple of gold coins out and hand them to you because you've been here for the last couple of years.
Oh, I found some phyllo and a half bit of banana.
Go and get some food.
Oh, and there's some great
Thank you,
owl
Malcolm.
feathers.
Go and get some. Go and take a handful of coins. I'm sure Claro wouldn't mind. Go and buy some food.
I'm
We
going to
all-
offer them to you and humbly apologise for stealing your coins.
Don't forget it.
Malcolm, I'm sorry!
Forget it. It doesn't matter. You needed to survive. You've looked after us all this time. It doesn't matter. Just take these coins. go and get us some supplies.
If anything, Malcolm probably owes you a bit more.
Probably.
I've sold everything I own to pay for this.
Take what you need and go and get us some supplies and maybe some firewood as well to keep this fire going.
He looks pretty apprehensive. He doesn't want to go outside. He finds the people of this village scary.
I'll go with you. I'll keep the legendary Zolan safe.
Take your guard dog.
Legendary.
He seems to want to look after you anyway, and anybody who carries around a sword that big has got to be able to use it.
Okay, we'll go.
So-
We'll head out to Benadaire's. I guess he'd be my first point of call.
So you recognise that name?
Benadaire.
That's a name you haven't heard for 15 years. You know, many
He's
years.
still here, is he?
He was the local shopkeeper,
Still is.
and you were somewhat friendly with him.
Go to Benadaire's. Do you want me to come with you? Or will my presence out there cause more problems than...
Trying to figure my voice out. It's going through my mind. I know. I need to work into it.
Just remember, you hate everything.
I hate. He would very much appreciate to see you, Malcolm. To be honest, he's been very he asks about you every day, so he would. Yeah.
All right.
He remembers you fondly of a young wee boy. Yeah,
Okay.
He'd be happy to see you.
I will come with.
So the three of you, and Thorin is foraging. You didn't find anything on the ground floor, so you're sort of probably wandering outside now and skirting the perimeter.
I'll be with them, but I'll be darting back and forth, like sniffing.
Orbiting.
Okay, so instantly you notice a shop just across the road. First of all, and then you're certain they have food.
Yeah, I'm going to head that way.
Okay, it's the same way these guys seem to be heading.
Well, I'll be slightly ahead of them.
Okay, sure. So-
Yeah, I'll be like.
So across the sort of flagstone pavement, remember you've got this this bell, nothing like as big as the Great Knell, but this fairly large couple of foot bell in the centre that's on a large post with this flame that's persistently burning at the top there, and then these augurs around this sort of town circle. You look across the opposite way to your house, and you see the familiar, and not so familiar for some of you, rickety beams which support this large thatch-covered market stall, very much leaning to the side of a stone building. Like it's got a proper lean on this. This can't have been built this way originally. Bent nails pepper the support struts. Very bad, low-quality handiwork that's been done trying to repair this. Perhaps a clue to the number of times that it's collapsed and been rebuilt. A faded metal sign, familiar to you, reads, "O'er away, O''er, way." The same name that it had all those years ago. Its tall, bald, white-bearded, full-beard owner stands with a smooth wooden pipe pursed between his lips. He's human. The smell of earthy straw and smoke permeating the air, and a smile draws across your face as the familiar scene looks and smells exactly the same way. The smell's the first thing to hit you, actually. It takes you straight back to that childhood place. And Ben looks down as he's smoking his brown pipe, smoke completely filling the market stall. You can see it. "Malcolm, my boy! You look like you've slept 1,000 days! Welcome back to Wick! I'd heard you'd awoken."
Yes. Good to see you too.
He looks considerably older. His liver spots are a little clearer. His wrinkles and his brow are that much more deep set. But it's the same almost youthful, friendly exuberance that he had all those years ago, just a little whiter and older.
It's good to see you're still here. How long's it been?
You've been asleep for 2 years,
Well,
Malcolm!
yeah, that as well as everything else.
Zolan has been a kind friend to you.
So everybody keeps keeps reminding me.
And a good friend to me as well. And this is Thorinir.
Oh, hi.
And you see, you can see there's
my face is in some of the food. If I found
there's
it
some
already.
packs of rations.
Kind of like gathering some things.
Yeah, rather than there being lots of fresh fruit and veg, everything seems to be kind of pre-packaged, but it's got labels, Clearly there's big packs of rations that are available here. And there's a whole load of different bric-a-brac, different packs and twines and all sorts of bits and pieces, just a load of different things that it's got in the back. You can't see it all, it's in stacks and piles and in boxes. In this open air, little gap between two buildings that the store's been set up in. Last time I saw you, you were but a child, Malcolm, dressed as a soldier, a boy pretending to be a man.
Quite a while ago.
How do you feel?
I've been better, but I'm glad to be up and about. This place, so much has changed, and yet so much has stayed the same.
Is that dog carrying a sword?
He just winks.
That's a dog carrying a sword. Yes, we still haven't quite worked out how that works yet.
Are you stood on hind legs?
He is on hind legs with the sword over one shoulder.
Well, that's a thing. Zolan, you didn't tell me about him.
I know nothing of this fellow.
He's the only thing shorter than Zolan.
Yeah, that's right.
Forgive me, I'll ask more shortly. Your armour hung off you like a baggy sock. We all laugh.
What's a sock?
And he lifts his leg up. It goes quite high, quite a high leg, very thin and frail and
A
knobbly.
yogi.
And he's got quite a sandal on and a big long white sock. What are these? Are you a wood elf?
Why?
I've never seen a wood elf before.
No, I've never seen a sock before.
Takes a big puff on his pipe. Zolan? He passes his pipe to you.
I would, yes, take. I've run out of rations, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm always running low. Yes, thank you.
So, what's it like to be asleep for 2 years? I'm sorry, I can't take my eye off this dog. You have to tell me.
I don't think it is a dog. He's trying to be discreet. It speaks.
He's just kind of looking up at all of you,
And in the common.
like following the conversation.
Can I introduce yourself?
People don't like it when I speak. The other lady was freaked out.
Speaking dog!
Now he knows.
It's quite amazing. And where did you meet this dog, Malcolm? Enough about the dog. I'm sorry. What was Equa like?
At times wonderful, at times horrible. Things didn't end very well for me there, but that's all in the past. Water under the bridge and stuff. I'm more concerned at the moment with what's been happening here.
Huh. Do you smoke, Malcolm?
No.
Would you like to start?
No, thank you.
Okay. Well, you were heading to Equa, and your mother and father stayed behind. The elves came to the town. Most fled. But I wasn't going to flee. It's my home. They wanted to move the wall between the elves and the humans, and move it further out and the other side of our town, to expand their land for some unknown reason. They were forced out. Many didn't want to leave. I'm sorry, I can't get over the dog. So I will carry on.
Is Thorinir holding any food?
I mean, he's rummaging. If he's found it, he's holding it. Cause
Have one on me! You look starving! He's picking up a pack of rations, which is 10 uses. I think I have to double check that. It's a pack of rations, and he's going to let you have that one, and he's going to give one to you as well, Malcolm.
Oh, thank you.
You look starving, boy. And he just gives you a pat on the belly.
It's been a while since we had proper food.
But you turned into a man. No longer a boy in a baggy sock.
No, that's true. Yes, grown up.
And strange friends you keep now. But Zolan here, a good friend.
A good friend. Yes.
Many
So
a
is
cloth I provided.
So
him.
is Thorinir.
I'm looking out for socks now. I'm just foraging around for socks. I've suddenly noticed everyone has these things like poking out from the bottoms of their boots, and I want some.
There was a mini uprising of sorts. After you left, the resources dried up. We were taxed by the elves. They took our grain, they took our livestock, they took our money, and they came and taxed us. After the decree of the wall, our people, some fled, and some stood up to them.
Do you know what happened to my parents?
They stayed. They weren't going to leave Malcolm. There was an uprising. They're alive, as far as I know.
No, that's something.
Some of the townsfolk stood up to them. And he points across the town towards, do you recall, the 16 standing stones that were the edge of the town, 3 or 4 foot high. Points to those over there. 16 of us were killed standing up to them. I stood here throughout the whole time tending my store. None of them paid me a blind bit of notice. The fighting went on around me. And I stood there the whole time. Never moved. And they never touched me. After the 15th and the 16th bodies fell, I stood out into the town and I stopped them. I ordered them to leave. Your parents were the last two. They were determined to stay. But realized at that point their resistance was hopeless. Take solace, Malcolm. They refused to be ostracized. They held up their beliefs to the end. They didn't respect the elves. The easy choice was to join the exodus of the newly declared elven lands out towards Callus in the human region, as many of the humans did. Instead, they travelled northeast towards the mountains.
Okay.
They survived, Malcolm. You should be proud of them. How far they got, I'm sorry, I don't know.
Okay. Just out of interest, I mean, it's got the chain and
The Kusarigama.
that's the thingy. Got it wrapped round him. Just out of interest, just so pulls the bladed end out. Do you recognise this?
Your father's weapon. I do.
Because I don't ever remember him having such a weapon. I don't.
I think he was protective of you, Malcolm. I don't think he wanted you to know and be burdened with your... He thought you had powers.
Okay.
Now, obviously, that's illegal, so we don't have powers, do we, Malcolm? But
No, absolutely not. No.
he wanted to protect you.
Okay.
I've seen his powers.
I would like to see his powers. Do you have any food?
Okay. There's a lot to catch up on. For the moment, we'd like some supplies off you, if we may.
Of course. I'm afraid you probably understand, Malcolm. I can't give you my entire shop.
No.
But please take those rations. You look thin.
Thank you.
Please.
Mr. Man,
Yes.
I'll also like some rations, please.
Okay.
I'm willing to. I'm willing to buy. I'm willing to. I appreciate the free rations he's given us, but I'm also willing to pay for some basic equipment, some firewood, if he's got any.
For those of you that have it, you may look at page 150 of the player handbook. The majority of that, anything under 10 gold pieces, within reason, is available.
You can look at the player handbook as you play along.
Alternatively, you can ask me things and I can tell you whether we have them.
Socks.
Socks. Yes, I can tell you some socks.
Thanks. What are they for? First of all, if it's a fashion thing, I don't want them.
What are socks for? For warming your feet, elf.
What's a feet elf?
Cold feet.
Yes.
Can I see some?
Certainly. He rummages towards the back. This is such a hickledy-pickledy selection of everything. Zolan realises this is the only operational store of any nature in this town. As he's sort of rummaging, I'm the last one, you know, Malcolm. I'm the only one that stayed. Those damn elves, they weren't kicking me out. And he looks through and eventually pops up with a white sock and a black sock. He's very sorry, I've only got a white and a black one. Will that do?
I'm gonna look at them. I'm gonna put one on.
My camera has died!
Oh no!
Over here it is.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll take an early break at this point in time while my camera's died.
Will Thorinir buy the sock?
Oh, find out next time on. We will we'll do a quick cut to ads, 5-minute break while
back in a
we
second.
repair our camera. That's a bad sign. See you soon. Yes, some of you may have noticed I'm ghostly in appearance, and that is plot-driven and not because the main camera blew up. And I went back to swap in a Logitech C920 webcam.
Lovely.
Yeah. So, yeah, a bit of a disaster, really.
Audio's still good. Crack on.
That's good news, yeah. So please forgive my ethereal...
The first in, what, 20 episodes? 40, 50
yeah,
episodes?
We need a new camera. So, yeah, if anyone can buy some emojis or something, I don't even know what we sell. Just cheer. I think you can cheer on Twitch. Or anything else that can just sort of... Anyone who isn't subscribed, we'd love you to subscribe. That'd be great. Because we've got some technology issues that may or may not be permanent, but that's next week's problem. For now, you can see the slightly ethereal version of me right here, and we're back in the room.
Hey.
What would you like? I lost my voice. I'm so disorientated after.
You're a big, grey-bearded man.
Ah, yes, Benedict is here. What would you like to buy?
There was some socks, I believe. Was
The socks, a white sock and a black sock.
So, I've already tried them on. They cover the bottom of the foot. No. And I throw them back at you.
Okay.
Because you'll notice at this point that Thorin's shoes are they're hollow on the bottom. It's more like things rested on the top. Like he likes to feel his toes in the air.
So you're wearing shoes, but you're essentially barefoot.
Yeah, they're just covering the top, so it's for like animal attack guard more than anything else.
Right.
sunburn.
And sunburn,
Obviously,
yeah,
yeah.
all those things. But yeah, he's got to keep his feet to the ground.
Good, sir.
There you go. Now you're in
Oh,
shot.
hello, blimey.
You're in shot. So,
Is that this far over?
what else are you interested in?
For the moment, right now, all we really desperately need is food and firewood.
And don't be stingy on the food.
Rations I can do. A day's
Cameras?
yes, a day's rations I can sell by the gallon.
How much
They
is those roughly?
include delicious dry foods
I thought you might have noticed that as you were just looking in the book.
We might need a
suitable for extended travel,
I've got my own book, but I didn't
including jerky, dried fruit, hardtack, and nuts.
Oh, hardtack! I do like a bit of hardtack.
That's hard.
one of those rations 5
Was
aspirin.
the jerky responsibly sourced?
I misunderstand.
I'm so hungry, I'm just going to assume yes.
Okay. How many would you like? I've got
We have,
loads.
we'll take 4 ration packs at the moment, and some firewood.
20 silver for the rations. And the wood. I can probably put something together. Hang on. And he goes in the back. I don't normally sell wood, you see, but I'll have a look. And he
I
goes
can't knock any more bits off the house.
goes out the back, and I'll do this sack of wood for, let's say, another 5 silver.
Okay.
So it gives you a small sack, and it's got a few bits and pieces that look like bits that have fallen off his stall, and bits that he's foraged to
As long as
repair his stall. Most of them have little bits of nail at some point.
It'll burn, warm the house up a bit, just while we get ourselves sorted out. Okay. So, would you like? Did you take the money, or did I hold on?
I didn't take the money.
Right. Okay. I will pay with some of the money that I got from Clara Pack.
Okay. No problem.
Pass you over.
So 25 silver in total if you're buying 4 rations and the firewood, yeah?
Yeah. I'll hand over a gold piece.
Oh, thank you. Change?
Would be nice.
Oh, okay. I'm joking, Malcolm.
I remember you from old.
Yeah, so it gives you 75 change. And I remember sorry, I was so discombobulated after that technical disaster.
Did I get some rations?
Yeah. I remember I don't have any with me. Yeah, if Malcolm gave you some, or did you buy any extra?
Well,
I don't have any money, so
I've got them on me. We'll take them back to the house and.
And we had 2 free, right?
Yeah, so you got 6.
There were 6 in total.
Yeah. I remember I used to leave sweet honeycomb on the side of my stall, and you'd run by, you and your friends, and you thought you were pinching it from me. I'd pretend to chase you away, and I remember seeing you giggling round the corner, thinking how heroic you were. I got that honeycomb especially, Malcolm, for you and your friends every day.
Really? Wow. That's
you're
amazing.
so unthankful.
That's amazing.
This
That's
man,
a-
he
that's a
bought you
happy-
sweet things every day.
That's a happy childhood memory. Thank you for that.
Feels insincere.
Now you owe me a lifetime's amount of honeycomb, please.
Will you take currency instead?
I'm joking, Thorinir. I'm joking. You notice the Augurs from across the town, again looking at you. And at this point in town, one of the doors opens, and any of you that are looking back across the town, some of you might be talking to Benedict, many of you that are looking back across the town, you swear you see a little brownie poke its head through a doorway outwardly, so they're in the building, and they poke it outwardly, and they've got one of the packs just dangling it in their hands, and they smile, look you directly in the eye, Thorinir, and go back inside and leave the door slightly ajar.
Can I pounce before that happens?
So it's the other side of the town, so but as soon as you can immediately run towards it if you'd like to.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. So you run across the town at full speed.
I feel like my calves are starting to come back now.
Sure.
This is like Felix, like feeling the motion, follows you straight, like cuts away. It's the first time you hear him go woof. It's like an involuntary sound.
What's going on? Foreigner, what are you doing?
Woof, Malcolm. Woof.
At the same time, from from seeming one of the side streets, one of the alleys, the woman who you know as Maru White walks into the town towards the bell, accompanied by 2 or 3 other augurs surrounding her.
Is the what's her name? The augur from the house. Is she with us at this point? Or
Alantrix, yeah, she's certainly maybe a little bit behind you, but she's in the area with you, yeah. Maru White, for those of you who have yet to see her, you might catch a glimpse of her, but you two will look. She's very, very evident, very, very present. I mean, this is an equivalent. Is the equivalent of that kind of eminence that a royal figure would have walking through a town.
Tom Cruise.
Everyone pays attention. Everyone looks around, and she's dressed quite differently. Rather than the all white that everyone else is wearing, she's got long, dark, kind of jade robes, or dark green, really, robes which go right down to the floor and sweep the floor. She has 2 long, what's the word? Religious vestments, like the long kind of vestments, and they seem to have kind of scripture coming down them. These long sort of parchment-like writings that sort of go from her shoulders round her neck all the way to the floor and hang down like a huge long scarf. She's got scrolls a bit like Alantrix all up and down her side. She's got these. She's got packs and she's got seals all across her. She's holding. She's got long white head scarf of sorts, which covers her head, sort of a hood, but it's free hanging. She's her face is quite broad, rounded, but she's got a narrow nose, and she's got sort of quite thinned lips. She's of a middle age, but she's a big presence. You know, she just sort of fills the square or circular square as she enters it. And she starts sort of walking towards, and she sees a few people sort of pointing in your direction. She starts walking in that direction. She locks eyes with Alantrix as well, and Alantrix sort of puts her hand up.
I sort of lean into her and say, "That your boss?"
Yes. So as that's happening, Thorinir arrives at the door to where this brownie poked its head out. And Felix.
I'm sort of more I'm looking at the boss lady, but more interested in why Thorinir has suddenly dashed off with Felix.
No problem. So, we'll come to you first, Thorinir and Felix.
I don't think Thorinir would have stopped at that door.
So you're running literally straight in.
Yeah, it's cracked.
It's a little bit ajar, yeah.
He would have just gone through.
Straight through, and Felix following.
Let's do this.
So you wander into the. I say wander. You sprint into this living room area. The house, at first glance, is somewhat similar to Malkin's. Same architecture, same stylings, furnishings. Unlike Malkin's, which are sort of still well presented and intact, maybe a bit dusty in places, they're all sort of tipped up sideways in this house. Like the table's on its back, a chair's knocked over, things are all pushed to the side, except for this one large brown wooden cabinet, which is stood just in the middle of the room. Really weird position for a cabinet to be. It's right in the middle of the room. And then behind it, you notice this old man, long scraggly hair, who, startled by you entering, he's lying down on the floor behind the cabinet. So if you imagine, you can sort of see his feet poking out one end, because it's in the middle of the room, his head poking out the other end, as he's lying down. He seems to be in a sort of sleeping bag of sorts that he's fashioned. He looks at you and he sits upright. What did you do at that point?
Sorry. Have you seen a little critter?
And he gets out of his sleeping bag, sort of in a bit of a scuffle. He just sort of backs away from you. Don't hurt me! Don't hurt me! And covers his own face.
I am a pacifist. Have you seen a little critter?
And he, at the back of the room, he sort of tries a door handle quite frantically, and he pushes through it and tries to just make a break for it out the back.
Cool. I'm just going to look for the brownie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I aid?
Certainly, yes.
So Felix is looking around as well.
Yes, if you want to make a perception roll, both of you. Actually, if you're helping, it's technically with advantage, isn't it?
Go for it.
Because we've got I've got disadvantage, right?
That's right. So it's neutral. So it's not neither advantage nor disadvantage.
Just one
with
roll.
with Felix's help.
What can you see, man?
I see 21.
21 brownies.
So the on the top of the cabinet, high up on the cabinet, there's a pack hanging off the corner of it, and you realise that pretty quickly. You also
Do I know whose pack it is?
it looks like your own pack. Yeah. You notice. You think you hear something. You don't see anything. You think you can hear some kind of scuffling from around the cabinet. It's only 10 feet in front of you. You think you can make out a sound. Yes.
Meanwhile, I've dropped the stuff that I've just bought.
right.
I've dropped it back on the table. Gone. Hold on to that for a minute, and I've gone dashing off after falling off after throwing it.
No problem.
So I'm a few paces behind it.
Quite a few. Thorin is very fast.
Mary White's still heading toward kind of Atlantrix in your area, Zolan. What are you up to?
I'm going to light a pipe and I'm going to start walking home.
Okay.
I thought, Mary White's coming that way. They've run that way.
Take the food.
There's a load of augurs. I don't like any of them. I don't want to be a part of this. I'm heading back to Malkin's house. I was just thinking, not today.
Okay.
Not today. I'll back off to Malkin's. I don't want to get away from Mary White.
No problem.
I don't fancy barging into a random's house.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a bit too well known to just be start running through these streets. So I'm going home.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem. That's
Light
fine.
pipe.
So Mary's sort of heading
Touch the
towards you.
ground.
She's clearly sort of looking around as you're running, and you're running. You're sort of sauntering away.
Yeah.
Your perception roll was high enough. In front of you as you walk in, there are a load of caltrops on the floor, which are basically like jacks, sharp jacks, sprinkled all over the floor in front of you.
Okay. As in, can I walk through them? Are they that dense or?
There's a decent spread of them. They look very sore to stand on. They're very spiked.
Especially if you have shoes that don't have.
Especially. Yeah. What a terrible time to have shoes with no bottoms.
But am I so perceptive and obviously quite athletic that during my run-in I avoid them and I can traverse across them?
You're at that point where you're just about to run up to them and you're a foot away from them, running sort of full speed, and you notice them as the old man has escaped out the back door. You see the pack on top of the cabinet.
Cool. I'm gonna. How far away is the pack?
10 to 15 feet from where you stood.
I'm gonna stop.
Okay.
Heels in the ground.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah. And Felix?
Yeah, he's going to stop behind him. He's got his sword up in a fighting pose, but like he's following his lead.
Yeah, okay. And at that point, you hear from behind the cabinet, "Oh."
Come out, brothers.
Okay, you're kind of arriving at the door now as well, Malcolm.
Right. So I'll look in over Thorinir's shoulder.
Yeah. The other thing, as you've now stopped and you're not running full speed, you have the cow shops in front of you, all this furniture tossed here, there, and everywhere. The old fellow who's left the room, the sleeping bag sort of bedrolls in behind the cabinet, the cabinet there in the centre of the room, quite tall, with this pack hanging from the top, and there's what looks to be some kind of a necklace or something like that, sort of half in this drawer or shelf or locked compartment within the cabinet, and half out of it. So yeah, sort of hanging down, looped, half in and half out of this cabinet. Because your perception roll was so good.
Wonderful. And these things on the floor, can I walk through them?
Now that you've noticed them, you can walk through them carefully without injury. But yeah, you realise if you hadn't observed them, they would have been quite sore.
Ouchies.
So I'm like, good job, my eyes are still there.
Yeah.
Eyes are still sharp. And I'm gonna, oh, everyone's here. My pack! And then I'm just walking through.
So it is.
And I'm gonna warn everyone, though.
Yeah.
Just in case they haven't
Spiky
noticed.
things on the floor.
Easy does it. Easy does it.
So the two of you are stepping through.
They're
Malcolm,
quite large for you, aren't they? The gaps between them should be
I'm
quite
assuming
easy for you to
I
get.
can just kind of walk around them or climb on top of them.
Malcolm, you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, so I'm going to come into the room carefully, and I'm going to have a look round, realising that Thorinir's seen his pack. I'm going to have a look round and see if I can find mine.
Okay, so if you want to give me an investigation roll.
I'm going to head towards the cabinet and sort of head to look round behind it, kind of thing, just scoping the whole room.
Okay, no problem. So if you give an investigation roll. And where are you two, just so I'm clear?
Oh dear, that's not great.
Just the other side of the caltrops.
Yeah.
Toward the cabinet, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just heading. I'm heading to the cabinet, so
Yeah, sure.
I'm heading for my pack basically. But
Yeah.
That's
wherever I got to.
7 for my investigations. That's not
So
great.
you look around there. There's nothing that strikes you as another pack. The only obvious thing is this central thing. Obviously you've spotted the necklace or something similar hang down from this locked compartment. I say locked. The shut compartment may or may not be locked. You haven't found that out yet. The shut compartment within the cabinet, and then the pack just hanging over the corner of it. The back door's wide open. There's this bedroll in behind there. So you've made it to the house at this point, smoking a pipe.
I've gone up the stairs. I've opened Malkin's closet. I've gone into the closet and closed the door behind me. Buried his face in his hands. And just thinking, wow. I thought I had a bad for 2 years.
Yeah, it's a very Zolan manoeuvre.
Yeah.
Have you had to deal with anything like this in the last
Just
2
peace.
years?
I had a lot of peace.
So it is a stressful time.
I
of
thought I
waking up.
was lonely, but I was peaceful. I realised that actually it was peaceful. Yeah.
Friends are such a mixed blessing.
So you find yourself in this room.
Okay.
Well, as soon as I can reach a pack, I'll reach a pack.
Okay. Yeah, so you reach up and you go to grab the pack. Can you give me a dexterity ability check, please?
Big
20.
Big rolls today.
Okay. So
Delicious roll.
as you reach up to grab the pack, on top of the cabinet, revealing itself from fading from nowhere, as if once invisible, this pointy-hatted, thin, kind of elf-like features, in some way narrow, wearing a little green jerkin and little brown boots, is lying on top of the cabinet. He's actually, you thought it was just sort of hanging there, but he was sort of holding the bag, and with his other hand he was trying to manacle your wrist, but your reactions were too good for him and he failed.
Obviously. And what's his comeuppance?
So that's the situation we find ourselves in. You've avoided his manacling.
Can I grab the bag and give a shove at the same time?
So trying to push him off the
Off the back.
off the top. Yeah, he's kind of on the top of this big cabinet-like dresser. It's probably 6 foot high. You know, it's a tall. So you can certainly make an athletics roll for a shove. I think it's been a while. Please forgive me. Contested by my
It's a 4.
So, after mods.
After mods.
Okay. Yes. So he dodges you and just rolls a little bit to the side. He's like, "Sorry."
Can Felix shove the whole dresser out that thing?
Sure. So make an athletics
With
roll.
strength, so no worries. Roll then. It's going to be 16 plus athletics. Did you say?
Yeah.
Plus 6, 22.
Good too. Yeah, that's enough. So this little tiny dog, Fur Knight, walks over to it, and it's a very strange sight. This tiny little 2-foot creature putting all that force into pushing over this cabinet, but you achieve it.
Yeah, it's better than that. He gets the sword, he pops it under the cabinet and uses it as leverage.
So you do so, and the whole thing falls over. The creature, do a dex save.
Flattened underneath it.
Yeah, the creature, as it lands, its leg is trapped underneath
Nice.
the dresser. Ow! Ow! And it's sort of trapped now under this dresser. The pack has sort of fallen to the ground. That's where we find ourselves.
Okay, I'm going to run over and I'm going to grab hold of this little creature by the scruff of its shirt.
And it itself is probably 2 foot or around that size. Very thin, just kind of scrawny. It's like a very tiny elf of sorts.
I'm going to grab hold of it by the front of its shirt and say, "What are you doing here? Why are you stealing our stuff?
Sorry.
What's going on?"
And give me a dexterity save.
I thought you did intimidation.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's with disadvantage. Yours technically should be in disadvantage. We forgot. No, disadvantage.
That's 5 plus 3 is 8.
Dex throw plus 5. Your oh no, you're right. +3. Shut up, Josh.
Have you got proficiencies in dex saves?
I believe I have actually.
Yeah, saving throw.
Yes, I have
Yeah.
plus
Yeah.
5.
So
So,
it's 10.
so that's I rolled a 5 plus 5 for my proficiency.
Plus your proficiency is +3, isn't it?
Oh, I was going
No,
to say.
my proficiency is plus 5.
No, your saving
Oh.
throw is +5.
Oh, sorry, my saving throw is plus. Sorry, yeah, I'm looking at the
Okay.
wrong thing.
Okay.
Proficiency is plus 3. Yeah, so that's
Okay.
that's 8.
10.
Okay. So 10.
10.
5 and 5.
You rolled a 5 plus
Yeah,
5.
You got a
10.
5.
No, my proficiency is plus 3.
No, that's
Yeah,
your
My saving throw is plus 5.
it's
Yeah.
10.
It's already calculated into
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So it would have been 2
So it
plus
would
your
have been plus
proficiency,
2 plus
so
3, yeah.
that's why it's high. So it's 10.
Yeah.
This is where we go back through the whole campaign. We're
Yeah.
like, hang on.
Oh, no, we didn't. Yeah. So, and that would be with disadvantage
That's right.
because
Okay.
you're exhausted.
And that was a 1.
Oh.
Okay. So that's. So from prone, we also had disadvantage this side, but you rolled quite well. From prone, he takes the manacles and he himself manacles your left hand, and he's just holding the other end, and he's like,
So he's put a handcuff around my wrist,
yeah,
and he's holding on to the other end,
yeah,
and I've got hold of him like that.
yeah. It's just
Does that face translate on this camera? Not very
Oh,
well.
This hand's still free by any chance?
Yeah.
So he's put a wrist handcuff on this one, the one I'm holding him by,
yeah.
and
You're going to get bitch slapped.
I'm really not having a good day right at the moment.
Squeeze until he pops, Malcolm.
I'm going to just pull ever so slightly because his foot is trapped under the thing. I'm
Sure.
just going to pull ever so slightly. Yeah, okay. I'm having a really bad day here, and I'm just. What? Tell me, why were you in my house? Why are you stealing our stuff? What's going on?
I like you.
Feelings not mutual.
Where are the rest of you?
He's gaslighting you, Malcolm.
You've got your pack.
I think I picked
right?
my pack. I'm probably looking at
Yeah.
this medallion. Medallion?
So it's sort of so it's only the kind of the chain, like a thin golden chain, that's sort of half in and half out of this drawer, which is now
has
collapsed
smashed.
on the floor. It's face up, but it's it's lying down on the floor now, whereas once it was the top of the cabinet.
Felix will be next to Malcolm just watching this.
Is that your stuff, Thorny?
Gave you your pack back.
No, you didn't. You gave me somebody else's pack back.
Look.
Where's mine?
He did tell me, kind of, that he had it. He did lead me to it.
Did he?
Yeah, he ushered me in. But you didn't tell me about these bloody trap things. And you did a tee-hee.
I'm very confused by the whole thing. Okay, I'm going to let him go.
His leg's still trapped.
Yeah, I know he's not going anywhere. Who was that man that ran out? Who was he?
An old man.
Do you have my stuff?
And he points to the pack. There it is.
That's his stuff. Do you have my stuff?
I don't have it now.
This is useless.
But one of us does.
And where would I find him?
I think he'll probably find you.
It's pretty convenient.
Want to slap something?
We could put him down the well.
I'm not going to throw anybody down the well.
Okay.
You got out of your sheet.
You!
Did you tie him up?
I told you.
What? Why did you tie him up?
Get him, Malcolm.
This right. Both hands this time. Pulling, stretching that leg that's trapped underneath. Both hands this time. I'm pulling him right up here. Why did you tie him up? What the hell is going on?
Make a intimidation roll with disadvantage because you're exhausted.
That's 17.
Can I aid him?
Plus 3.
Sure, so that would that's no longer disadvantage.
Yeah, no, he's just going to stand. He's just standing like the lights behind him. So it's just this shadow of this dog with this big sword.
Are you growling?
Just the whites of his eyes. Tiny brownies.
Okay, so if it's not a disadvantage, then that's 20, not natural. 17 plus 3.
That's funny.
You tied him up because it was funny.
Yeah, it was funny. People laughing our heads off.
It is pretty funny. When you frame it, that is pretty funny.
Very, very scary. Please can you let my leg out now, mister?
Do you know where our other friend is? The one whose pack who dropped down the well. Do you know where he is?
He's in bed.
No, he's not.
Okay.
It's getting nowhere, is it? Right, I'm going to let him go.
Thank you. Make a dex save.
What I get?
I don't know, I can't read it.
Sorry, not a dex save. This is an ability check. It's a contest.
14 plus 3, 17.
Okay, so as you're standing there, he's trying to put the other end of the manacle on your arm, but you dodge it.
Face! Get away!
And then he sort of,
Why are you trying to handcuff me?
I don't know, I can't help it. And he runs away unless any of you try and stop him.
That's a 10. What do I get? Dex?
What are you doing?
Trying to stop him. I'm going to reach out, I'm going to go and try and grab the back of his shirt.
Okay,
as
sure.
he runs away.
Yeah, so I guess it's against his acrobatics. Yeah, so your dexterity against his acrobatics.
Is that disadvantage because you're a
Disadvantage.
sleepy boy?
Well, that's so 10 in total.
You maybe just grab just with your fingertips, but he just breaks through, and this little tiny little guy jauntily runs off towards the back door and doesn't turn back. You just hear.
Get after him. Fetch.
Woof! He's going to go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chase him. I want him to chase him.
Sure.
He's going
See
to.
where he goes.
He's going to run,
Yeah.
and then he's going to backside sword the brownie.
Okay. Yeah. And what's your what? Go for it. Yeah, make an attack roll.
I want you to chase him, not kill him.
It's not a good one anyway. It is going to be 2 plus 6. It's only an 8.
An 8. Yes, not enough, I'm afraid. So he dodges it. And
You're anything better than I am.
what's your speed?
He has 30 foot walking, 20 foot climbing.
30 foot. Okay. At full speed, he is slightly faster than you, so you can chase, but he would be getting away from you on the chase.
Can you see where he's going? At least see where he's
Yeah,
going.
Yeah, he's just
chase him out the door.
Yeah, he's heading towards the fringes of the town,
Yeah.
basically towards the very outskirts of the perimeter of the town.
North, south, east, west.
Out of the north, there's two sort of main entrances to the town. One's the north and one's the south.
Cool. Sorry, Malcolm, I lost him. He heading north.
Right. Okay. Did you see any sign of the old man?
Did you see any sign of the old man?
You can turn back right now and
Yeah.
make a perception roll. Or what are you looking? Are you looking if he's there or if he's been there?
If he's there.
Yeah, so perception.
It was 3 plus not a lot.
Okay.
3, 6.
Yeah, you can't smell him.
Okay. Thank you. Smells like brownies.
Chocolate brownies?
Delicious.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to have another look round the room and try the drawers in the cabinet to see if I can find my stuff.
Okay. So the cabinet's locked. Surprise, surprise. Yeah. There's a small little brass handle just in the centre, very small little thing, and there's a little keyhole in there. It looks pretty crude, but it is locked.
Looking through the doorway, Felix is like, "I got the key to the city." So he waves his sword a little bit.
So yeah, I'm gonna have a good look round now for my pack.
Sure. So yeah, around the room, you can give me another investigation roll. It's a single room, by the way. There's no staircase or anything. It's quite relatively small.
It's a 7. It's not great. But
7. Yeah, nothing additional to what you saw previously.
And
You
there's
should
nothing.
influence Jack by saying things like "it's not great."
Yeah. 7.
Lucky 7. Did you get the piece of jewellery?
I think that's stuck in, right?
Okay.
So that is in the locked cabinet, but sticking out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which,
So if you tried to tug it, you can't pull it through.
depending on my role.
Depending on your role.
Nice.
A basic tug, wouldn't it?
Power of Grayskull.
So, oy.
Well, yeah, Thorin doesn't care for bracelets and jewellery, so
Malcolm,
he'll point it out to you guys. Like,
Yeah.
there's a shiny human thing there if you guys want it.
may I try?
Be my guest.
Cool. He's just gonna smash it with his sword. Through that wooden cabinet.
So,
I just bought firewood.
yeah, you can give me an attack roll.
Cool.
You're going to be able to get through this. To be clear to you, the attack roll is just with how much style.
It's just fun. 18 plus 6, 24.
So you
Is
can
anything
open it any way you choose
Cool.
through smashing.
So he runs,
Yeah.
and then he gets and he's running with the sword forwards. He pokes it in the ground, and you see for the first time in your lives a dog pole vault a sword. As he flings up into the air, the sword comes out of the ground as he flies through the air, and he brings it down in a great big smash right in the middle of this cabinet.
Perfect. So wood splinters everywhere.
Yeah, I imagine everyone's ducking or has to make some kind of saving roll.
Yeah. Splinters everywhere. And as you as you open this up, can you give me a roll? Can you give me D? One of the first ever D100 rolls, please.
Oh, jeepers.
I don't remember how that
It's
works.
full of dynamite.
Need a 10 and a 100, don't you?
I don't think I even have a. I got a toin. A toin. Can I roll?
A hundo to roll with it.
Yeah, buddy.
Boink.
There's a 10.
Cool. I think I got it. I think that's a 10. We never
a 10?
roll 10s. Right. So a 10 and a 100. It is. Do you reckon that's a 92?
Okay.
Is that 9 or is that 6?
9.
No.
And
that's
can
6.
you roll
Don't
two?
ask questions like that.
Can you roll two
That's what I rolled.
D4, please?
Oh. It was 62.
Or 62. Can you roll 2D6, please?
5. 10.
10.
Mm-hmm. 10 necrotic damage.
You, in there, you find a small golden necklace.
Yep.
Whether it's gold or not, you're not sure, but a small golden necklace, which is worth round about, new would be worth round about 10 gold.
Yeah.
Doesn't always mean you can get 10 gold from a seller, but that's its value. You find a. Give me a D12.
Oh, jeepers. What's the 12?
That's a 9.
That's a 9. We agree on that one.
You find 3
Sellers.
obsidian stones, which are worth around 10 gold each.
Wow.
You find 10 gold pieces. And give me another D12.
Does someone else want to roll that for some fun?
No.
Nice. Lovely. So,
It would take me too long to find it.
was you saying another D10 or D12?
12.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah,
Cocked.
cocked. Never ask me to roll your dice. 12.
12. I will take that.
Okay. And you find a transparent pale blue-green zircon, which, if appraised, would give you around about 50 gold pieces.
Nice.
Hey, these brownies have been busy.
In addition, can you roll a d4?
Good lord.
Yeah, I've got one of them. I'll do that. That is a 2.
2. Okay. And can you roll a d100?
100. No, 10. Yeah.
Okay. They were very different outcomes.
Yeah.
Um,
And bats.
you find a potion of greater healing.
Ooh.
That is probably the most valuable thing in there.
Sorry, I shouldn't have told you that. You find a potion. Upon a small taste,
Yeah.
you identify, oh, this is a potion of greater healing.
I'm not drinking now.
Yeah, you find a potion of greater
Okay.
healing.
Oh, great. Anyway.
Yeah.
Lovely. I'll put that in speech marks.
Yeah. You assume.
Yeah. Cool.
You probably became familiar with it at some point during your previous days when they fed it to nearly dead warriors.
Of course.
Mm.
So Felix is going to pick up the necklace. And he's just going to throw it at Malkin. And he's going to go, keep the change, you filthy animal.
And one last D100.
It's a 70.
You find an unusual ointment.
Usual ointment.
Ointment. Taste it.
Cool. I'm going to be real honest.
Lick
Can't
it.
carry all this stuff. Don't have any pockets. So if you can, I'm going to assume you guys can take this. This is all of use. He is going to take the potion of great healing though. I'll keep this one for later.
Not got a belt with pouches in it or a bandolier.
I have
Chewbacca.
RPG'd him very specifically as like not having anything. He's a dog with a big sword, right? That's all right. Yeah, so maybe we'll keep the 10 GP in his neckerchief.
So what you basically found there was quite an impressive shelf.
Swag.
Yeah.
Good. All of swag. Right. But no sign of any more brownies, no sign of my pack, and no sign of the old man.
But you do have some ointment.
We have some ointment.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So that's sick. Brown.
Wow, your piles.
From the doorway,
Oh.
Elantrix pokes her head around. Is everything okay?
I'll shout careful because there's some big spiky jack things.
And she looks down. I heard a smash.
Yeah, you did.
And she looks down, just sort of sees this devastation. That's quite a collection you found.
We got some firewood.
Okay. The Maru would love to talk to you.
Now?
If it's not the right time, then I understand, I can tell her. But it really is probably the most important thing in our
Heavy him.
in our Augurs of Knell.
Yeah. It's that or it's 7
History.
physical days until we get
Yeah.
to talk to us. So we
Yeah.
might as well.
Right, okay. I'm gonna go back over to the shop, pick up our stuff, take it back to the house.
Okay. So as soon as you step out, she stood there by the bell in the centre.
Oh, I thought you stood by
Yeah, no, she stood by the bell in the centre, so you could circumvent her, but she stood there and looking quite clearly in your direction, and she sort of smiles as you come out.
I'm just gonna sort of 5 minutes. Just go over to the shop, pick up our stuff, take it back to the house. No sign of Zola?
What are you two doing?
I've got a pack.
Elantrix is with you.
And
yeah.
I stay with her. Just
Okay.
I'm just going to drop all our stuff back at the house, the food on the table, and I'm going to grab a handful of something that I can eat while I'm while I can.
No
Just,
problem.
just something.
So you can burn through one of the rations that you've got there.
Yeah, just eating while I'm going along.
Yeah.
Just to sort, because I'm absolutely starving and
Sure.
everything's going on, and I haven't had a chance to even stop and think about
And
what
you're
the
hungry.
hell's going on.
Yeah.
I'm hungry and I'm angry and I'm tired and I'm aching and while I'm stomping around doing all this clearly in a foul mood.
And you can hear all this
Yeah.
Maybe over sobs
from
potentially.
a book cupboard.
You call it Felix puts the rest of the swag in your bag.
Yeah, go for it.
I much appreciate.
I'm just
I'm warming to this little critter.
Giving you free goodies.
Shinies.
Shinies.
Okay, and Felix, what are you doing?
He'll follow Thorinir.
Yeah. And Zolan, you're just in the cupboard.
Yeah.
I don't need to ask, do I?
No, yeah. He's in there.
Yeah.
He's definitely deciding whether to ignore them or not.
Sure. So Malcolm's back in the house. Is Zolan likely to have heard you?
Well, it's not a big house, so he would have heard me stomping around.
Okay, so you can
Standing in the
hear
corner,
a person
kicking
in the
the
house.
wall.
Whether you can identify it as Malcolm or not, I'm not
I'm
sure.
just going to call. I'm going to assume that Zolan might be in the house somewhere, so I'm just going to shout, Zolan, I'm going to meet the Maru. See you in a minute.
Zolan's going for a 2-year sleep. I think he deserves that. Zolan deserves a 2-year sleep. Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Leave all the stuff there, and
Okay.
munching on whatever I can munch on the way.
So you're heading back out into the main town area. The Maru starts to walk towards you and Elanthrix and Felix. Just a couple of steps, but she sort of doesn't approach you entirely. She looks like she's waiting for you to come towards her if you decide to.
So
I'll wave.
Okay.
I'm gonna head to these guys first.
Mm.
I'm gonna go over to these guys and say, okay, does she want to talk to us now?
So she's probably already started to engage with them just before you return. You're probably just in the process of returning. She started a conversation, so you'll be back with them shortly.
Stop.
So as you wave to her, these big long green vestments, you see this big presence. She's tall. She's as tall as Atlantrix, and she's fairly pale face. There's a sternness to her, and she looks at you. You walking still, yeah. And she looks down at you. A fur knight,
You're very saying.
Thorinir.
Yes.
And she bows her head to you both.
Bow a little lower.
I'm already bowing very low.
Welcome to Wick.
Thanks.
How are you feeling?
Very tired. Oddly, because I've been so sleepy for so many years.
What do you remember?
A really big bell.
The Knell. Yes.
Bell.
The great Knell.
That is all I remember. I remember a big fight, a big bell.
Who was that fight against?
The void. Void.
So it's true. And she looks at Lantrix. It's true. It's true! And all of the other augurs around.
I shout,
There's a
true.
There's a big.
It's true.
It's true.
There's a big reaction from all of the augurs in the area, because there's a group of them in and around, sort of listening in. There's a big reaction, and there's sort of a nervous excitement, or seems like an answer they've been waiting for quite some time.
So at this point I arrive and go, what's true?
Malcolm,
Hello.
what do you remember? A void.
Big fight. A void. Oh, didn't we kill him? Or something? I know we got close. I kind of blacked out.
You killed Void?
Well, I kind of thought that was what happened.
Is this
There
a
was a-
madness?
There was a big fight. We had a fight with Void.
Tell me everything.
There was a big fight with Void. Right at the end of it, I was pretty much out of it, but I got the impression that we had beaten him. It, them, they, whatever. And then the big white light, and that's as much as I remember.
Just as you're talking, just as you're sort of locked in with Mary White, you guys just notice just next to Mary White is a child who again looks quite different to everybody else, whereas there's this white, clear colour scheme that everyone else is wearing. This this boy, completely bald, and he's maybe 12, 13, something around that kind of age, you'd estimate. Human. He's got draped robes running shoulder, almost kind of like a toga, like a big swathe of cloth coming across the shoulder. He's got a bare shoulder on the other side. Kind of dark tan skin. He has these gold kind of rings, almost coppery rather than gold rings, just attached around this dark indigo cloth. And he's got this very interesting aroma. There's this very big bunch of these particularly aromatic herbaceous leaves
Sage.
on the front. Now you've said that could be a nature check
Oh gosh, what did I throw?
with advantage. No, you've got disadvantage. So with no disadvantage,
Okay. 16.
sage.
Thorny knows his sage.
They're attached by twine to the sash's front. Extraordinarily still. That's the only thing you notice. Back to the conversation.
Just go
Why does everybody keep asking us what happened? It was 2 years ago.
Tell me everything.
There was a fight. There was myself, Thorinir, Zolan, and our 2 other friends, as well as 2 others who weren't exactly friends of ours. And there was a big fight. And it came down to the last desperate attacks. I don't remember an awful lot because I was very badly hurt. We lost one of our friends, and I believe, although Thorinir would probably be able to tell you more from that point, because as I say, I was very badly hurt, I believe that we beat Void.
Again, they all look round, sort of nervous whispering from everyone.
Whether we killed him, I don't know.
And what happened when you killed him?
I don't remember.
What did he look like? That doesn't matter.
Void.
Can I do a memory roll of some kind?
You can. I mean, to describe what he looked like.
Yeah.
It was so vivid in your mind. It was this big, dark
Just a shadow.
mass of energy. This huge creature. Remember, size was sort of quite disruptive. You couldn't work out whether
Were we close? Were
yeah,
we far?
exactly.
Am I me? Am I not me?
Yeah, and
It was
just,
all very, very confusing. The whole fight, everything about it, everything about the encounter was insane. But
It's like that Jamiroquai video where he's on the travelling floor.
I don't know it.
but it was my thought that we had, for all the damage we took and the injuries and the sacrifice, that we'd beaten him.
And when you beat him, then what?
Can I remember that?
So your final memory was defeating him, really.
But we kind of remember nothing but the bells, right?
Yeah, there was.
I remember losing Nollis.
My last memory was Nollis falling, our friend.
So
And then nothing at all until I woke up here, hours ago.
and when you defeated, you don't remember anything. So when you defeated Void, the madness ended in the human region.
I don't know. I don't even know how we got back here. I've only heard from our friend that we were brought back here. I mean, we were unconscious. The two of us were unconscious.
I wish Solon was here right now.
Zolan would be really useful here right now. Would you like me to go and get him? He's probably back at my house. I can go and get him if you like.
I'll get him. Elantrix steps away. He'll be in the cupboard.
Yeah, there's not a lot of trees in the house.
You two and Zolan and your other friends, you've endeavoured in one of the most important events, I believe, in our history and our future. Zolan told you stories of the Augurs?
Only the barest of information that you've been here for the last few years.
Are you ready to learn what we know?
Are we?
We're ready.
There is.
We live for it.
There's a. I mean, we still have a friend missing. Claro. There were five of us.
One of the humans,
He was half elf.
Yeah.
half elf. Yes, he's in your house, no?
Well, that's what we thought, but he's not there now. We don't know where he's
He wasn't there when we woke up. Zolan doesn't know where he is.
Zolan
That's strange.
insists
Dog
that
doesn't
he
know
was
where he
there.
is.
Everybody seems to insist that he was there.
When?
Well, up until just before we woke up, apparently.
Augurs, look for him. And she points to a couple of them, and they take a moment, look to each other, and a few of them disperse. One or two still remains. The boy in the indigo drape with the bald head still there. She's there, and maybe one or two other kind of acolyte types. Meanwhile, the door opens quite abruptly to your cupboard. Zolan,
I'm embarrassed for you.
did you see the orb again?
Did I see the?
Normally I find you in the cupboard when you see the orb.
Oh yes, of course. I haven't gone near that. No.
Come down. The Maru's speaking with them.
Not the Maru. No, please, Elantrix.
Come on, Zolan. She takes your hand, holds you by the hand, and pulls you out of the cupboard.
No, I don't like her. She scares me.
Zolan, come and talk to her.
She spout nonsense the last time we talk.
I told you, it isn't nonsense.
Elantrix, you read a book that you find on the street and you believe it to be too true.
Your stories correlate. Our stories correlate. They're the same. It's not a story.
Did they kill anybody?
Come on. She just grabs you by the hand. And unless you're really resisting, she's going to try and pull you down.
As long as I got my pipe.
Yeah.
I'm going to bury my head in shame.
Yeah.
Is it still lit?
That's how she knew where to find you. A little wisp of smoke coming out of the closet.
And she,
Put my
so
head down.
you going with her reluctantly?
Well, it's like a child. You know,
Okay,
you have a
yeah.
tantrum and they get dragged through the supermarket.
She picks up a pack that she left on the table and her mace sort of strapped to the side of it. and puts on her back and just pulls you along and shuts the door to Malcolm's house behind. And you led into the centre. You see
We see this.
This is what we see.
Yeah, probably one of you can see it.
She comes through the door, dragging him. It's probably quite an impressive sight with this mace over her shoulder.
Yeah, raven black hair, these long white robes and scrolls up the side of her, pulling along this bedraggled, sulking gnome.
Thorny, I was told you he was a hero.
You were bigly mistaken.
That is disappointing.
So yeah, she drags you across, and you're greeted by the scene of the under the town bell and this ever burning flame that never seems to stop at the top there.
How's that bloody bell some days?
In the middle of this flagstone circle.
Anybody made a Great Bells of Fire joke yet?
And she stood there, and these other augurs sort of looking around, quite evidently looking around the town. You see Ben just smoking his pipe, sort of in the edge of the circular square, sort of looking across. And yeah, Thornir and Felix and Malcolm are talking with Mary. See, it's not that bad. She
Like ushering over.
walks you this way. Zolan,
Put my head down. Yes.
the Great Knell was built as a warning. We are the scholars and Elantrix. She says, I've given them a little background. She gives her a stern look as she was interrupted.
Scary lady, I'm telling you. She'll fuck you up.
The Knell has been built as a warning to Asher each time one of the 4 chimes is rung and identified. We're teachers, desperate to educate everybody and seek help before it's too late. Asher's destruction, complete destruction, was prevented once. And now it must be prevented again. Our research tells us that 1,000 years ago, hordes of evil rose against all of Asher's people. Otherworldly creatures, not beasts like you or I, not human, not elf, not orc. The living dead, demons. Violent wars ravaged our worlds, and the odds became insurmountable. Asher was, once before, moments from destruction. Our studies describe 4 chimes, which we interpret as the 4 signs of events that happen to occur just before the forming of something very important, known as the cowl. The cowl was formed by 4 powerful leaders. And it's this cowl which was able to seal this great evil. The wind gently blows behind, and you just hear a little tinging of the bell as the wind sort of laps against it. Everything else is still around you. We believe you found, or you identified the chime of mind. The madness and the mind is Void's domain. Void is the god of madness and the mind. The chime of arcana, the chime of elements, and the chime of life are the other chimes. When each foreshadowed chime occurs, one chime is rung for a 10-day across all of our toxins.
Doesn't I know it? All day, all night.
Because you're very stone. As well as the great Knell, the bell which you speak of, built above Spetakaza by our Augurs over many, many years. After the fourth chime, the gates of evil will flood open, and only those of pure blood from the rulers of the 4 great nations can repel them using the cowl. We believe the cowl can be operated with 4 keys, which we believe is not a literal translation. We think it's instead a reference to the bloodlines from the 4 legendary leaders of those great nations. The Osai, the elves, the horned elves, and the dwarves. We understand that it was the leaders of these great kingdoms which created the cowl, and therefore we're pinning our hopes that it's their descendants, those of pure blood, who have the best chance of wielding the cowl once again. The cowl is a mysterious device. We don't know what or where it is. People dismiss us as zealots and lunatics for such. Again, she looks at you, and Antrix just squeezes your hand. She's been holding your hand the whole time. Your palms are probably getting sweatier and sweatier.
Yeah.
We know that the cowl is the key to all of this, and finding those from great royal bloodlines is our only hope if we are to save Asher.
So, you are looking for a device that you don't know what it is or what it looks like, to be operated by 4 descendants of these great mythical, almost godlike beings.
It's preposterous, isn't it?
It does. It's quite a story.
It is quite a story, and I don't expect you to understand it all
Well,
in one paragraph.
We've encountered. I mean the statues.
Mm-hmm.
That we encountered that would tie in with this.
They don't quite align properly.
No.
Me and Elandrix have spoken about this, and there's similarities, but they're not direct matches.
Okay, so where do we come in all of this? What you seem to think that we are involved in all of this somehow, or significant?
Well, I believe you're more than significant. I believe you told me yourself you killed Void. You have both slept for 2 years and come around on the same day. The day the chime rang, it was rang because of this explosion, the epicenter of which was the exact location you were found.
And where was that?
Dathkar Crag. Specifically the entrance to the gnome line.
Right, so, okay.
Weasel, Zolan's friend,
What's the
took
matter
you
speaking,
here.
is it?
Yes,
What a
took you
bitch.
here.
So,
we would like you, myself, a representative of the Augurs of Knell, to help spread our word, to join us, report the chimes to the toxins so that we can sound the alarm. We don't know where the next chime is or where it will happen, unto where it will happen. We need to identify the charms. We need to recruit the heirs to these great bloodlines, which we are working on hard. But it's not easy to speak to kings and royalty. They dismiss us as crackpots. You have some substance as the people who defeated a god. You've witnessed one of the chimes in person. They may listen to you where we have failed. I'm sorry this burden falls on deaf ears. But please understand, if we do not act, Asher will fall. Most people see us as crackpots. You've seen firsthand that we are not. Do you accept Asher's plea? And she looks at each one of you one by one, very, very emphatically and purposefully. And she holds that stare for a good 10 seconds on each of you.
Thorno bows down.
She perhaps looks over Felix.
It's quite easy if he's that little. I don't really see how we can refuse. I don't know how we're going to achieve this.
I have some things that can help you.
What might? Where do you think we should be going? Do you have any idea?
Elantrix sort of steps in. She lets go of your hand finally. My task is to head to Spetakaza, the great Knell. It's the centre of the Augurs of Knell. It's our headquarters, if you will. We need to find a way to retrieve information that either will indicate where the next chime is taking place, or where any of the royal bloodline can be found. We have to get the message to them, and we have to have them on our side, because when this takes place, if we're not ready, and if the writings that we've accrued are true, and please understand, this is not a doctrine, this is not the speakings of a single lunatic. This is research that we have studied from all across Equa, Asher, the human lands, the gnome regions. We've compiled it all and brought it together. We are certain that this is underway once again.
How long do you think we have?
We don't know.
Zona's not convinced. Not convinced at all. 5 ragtag idiots.
Is he saying this?
Well, I can make a point tomorrow because she spurned my pride with that interjection. That we'd 5 idiots have accomplished more in 4 months of travelling and defeated a god than a tribe of lunatic book readers who have a network throughout the lands of supposedly gathering all the information here and all the information there, and you've done nothing with it. And 5 idiots have accomplished more than you can do, or than you have done in all of the years of your service. How do we know that you're not just
Zolan Dorwin! You, old man, have lived through a battle with a god. I am telling you, our network has researched this to the nth degree. We have accrued more knowledge than you could possibly have accrued in your entire studies at your academy.
I doubt that.
We know this is above you. This is above your cowardice and your pride. This is bigger than you. This isn't about you, Zolan. This is about saving Asher.
What have you done to save Asher?
We have got you here, and we are telling you, as the only people that will be listened to, we are nutcases. We are crack jobs. We are zealots. We are lunatics, according to everybody else. If there's one person that should listen to us and understand, it is you, Zolan.
There is a network of people that we'd worked with that accomplished more in our brief time together than you all have. If anybody we should be listening to, we should be listening for the people of Weirdwit and trying to find Badua or Gold Elizabeth or what was the old dwarf called with the shadow blade? It was a cool dude. You don't know. You would know. You would know him, but Felix wouldn't know him. I was talking to Josh there. Sorry.
She looks down to the boy stood next to her.
Mm.
He looks up. He's had his eyelids kind of down, not eyes shut, but kind of looking at the ground a little bit. And he looks up, and his pupils are white. And he looks up. Zolan.
Little more.
Thorinir. Malcolm. And as he speaks, you just begin to recognise him as one of the orphans from Weirdwit, who you remember fleeing the tunnel after the explosion that took place from Benji's machine. I see things. Confusing things. That's what he says.
Pretty weird.
I turn to little Zolan here. I come from a village of scholars. Scholars don't act. Scholars acquire. These scholars are reaching out for people who can act. We may be ragtag idiots, but we act. Be that good, be that bad.
We have acted without the presence of these people. Nobody told us like none of these augurs.
Think of the power of knowledge with brash action.
They've told me there's a bell in Spetakaza. How many miles tall?
1,000 miles.
1,000 miles. Does that seem plausible? That is
7,000 dog miles.
This is pretty tall. That'd be nice.
is a ridiculous statement.
There is a dog with a 6-foot sword.
5 actually. 1,000 miles tall. The day I heard that was the day I thought I could write anything in this book, bury it under that bush, and these guys will dig it up in 20 years' time and believe every word.
So Lantrix turns to you. Zolan, it's not just one book. When I was living in Equa, Maru White ran the library there. Do you know what a library is?
We have libraries that teach relevant things. I'm sorry, Andrew, I don't want to talk down to you. You are a friend, but we have things where we teach people relevant things. Things in the past which are no good and useless get forgotten because they're no good and useless. We learn present things, or we strive to discover new things. Things of the past that have been forgotten not because they were useful, and they were wonderful inventions because they were useless and useless to everybody. That is why things get forgotten.
We had pieces of information, scraps from here and there. I'd heard of the Augurs, but I wasn't interested in in anything they shouted. I was like you. I thought they were, forgive me, Mary, lunatics. I used to go to the library and read and try and learn about the world and about the history and everything else. I met Mary White, the curator of this library. The two of us became friends. A section of her library, when she became its curator, was missing. A section of it had been hidden. The shelves were there, but the books had been taken. More than that, there were actively ripped up, torn, burnt books there that I came to inherit. And I was fascinated by this, Mary. Fascinated by this. And I was desperate to learn what had been so important around all these other books of geography and stories and tales, and mathematics and magic. I was desperate to learn what these books said. And these books had mostly been destroyed. We learnt Atlanterix's grandmother had one of these books. Atlanterix, yes, I found in my family home, I lived on the outskirts of Equa, I found a book that I'd never seen before in my family home, in one of my grandmother's shelves, and I asked her about it, and she said she had acquired it from this very library 50 or 60 years ago. And we realised quite clearly this was an example of one of the missing books, the destroyed books.
Do you have novels where you're from? Fictional tales? Is that something that you...
I understand what you're saying.
Like...
Stories. This was no story. This was historical recounting. The way it was written, the note-taking, the dates. It was a diary. It was facts of sorts. It was a diary of entries from a long time ago. And this is where the missing pieces of the Augurs of Knell's story were found. This is where we read of the cow. This is where we read of the royal bloodlines of the Osai and the elves. I took this to Mary White and showed her, and we realised if this is this one book, what else was burnt? What else was destroyed? We finally reached out to the Augurs and showed them what we'd found. We were summoned to Spetakaza, to their main hub. They were smaller then. And we showed them what we'd found. My friend, the librarian, Mrs. White, was made our Maru. A senior figure, one of the most powerful figures in the Augurs. And we were sent to establish this toxin, this outpost, and spread the word further. They believe we found the missing part of the puzzle, and we believe the rest of it was being covered up, and it had all been covered up somewhere down the line by somebody.
No idea who's covered this up.
We assume the elves. Atlantrix is an elf of note.
No. All we get is prophecies. That's all we hear from. That's all I hear from you. It's just prophecies. There's no proof of anything. There's no enemy to chase or a group of people at which you believe are targeting. It's just a prophecy of events that have supposedly happened. You know, it's hard to believe.
There are a large number of events taking place in both the north and the west at the moment, which we are hearing suspicions of are indications of the next chimes. If you want proof, read about the Great Divide.
Well, Felix breaks the silence. He's stretching with his sword over both shoulders. I might only be a small one, much smaller than you big people, and really not as smart as you big people. But the way I see it is, if you don't believe there's a 1,000-mile belt, why don't we just go see the 1,000-mile belt? We just go there. We'll go to the Spagaza. It either is or it is not 1,000-mile belt. And he puts the sword down on the ground a bit. And if it's bravery you're lacking, I will be your bravery, Zola. I will take you to the 1,000-mile belt. And if they're right, it's great. And if they're wrong, we'll just laugh at them.
I quite often have a laugh, me and Benedict. Smoke a pipe and have a laugh. It's a good chuckle. Can't exist 1,000-mile belt.
But the way I see it is, we either do or we do not follow these people. And they either are or are not right. But there is one thing that they can prove, which is if they have a massive belt.
I would like to see this massive bell.
1,000-mile belt.
Elantrix, how far is it to Spagaza?
It's 4 days travel.
What is 4 days?
On foot,
Maybe.
by foot.
No, by ride. By foot it's further.
And how,
10 or 12 days.
and how would we be travelling?
We would travel together by foot. I'm due to go there anyway.
I've just come upon a vast amount of money. So we just buy horses, we ride.
We ride.
If there's anywhere in the village to buy horses.
This is the worst village. But if bravery is what you're lacking, if this is fear, I can fill in for that. We go to Spagaza, we see if it's real.
It's not fear, it's, well, not entirely. It's wondering what we're supposed to do. I'm not entirely convinced this is our fight, just because we happen to be involved in it in the first place.
Listen.
What
Take
makes
this.
you think that we can do whatever it is that you expect us to do? And where would we even start looking for these descendants? And how would we convince them that they have to do something that we don't even know what it is that they have to do to an object that we don't even know what it looks like?
Malcolm,
I'm right on this.
if I was any good at this, I'd have answered that myself years ago.
Okay.
I know that this is the single greatest development since first finding that book in our Augurs history. And I know that I'm prepared to fight for you to join us. Take this. She reaches into a large pocket in her vestment, pulls out a ring. It's kind of brilliant, smooth, polished silver band, and it's got. It looks fairly simple. It's a fairly simple silver, smooth ring. She just puts her hand out towards you. Generally, any one of you could take it.
Who's holding this up?
Mary White.
Oh no chance. Not being indebted to her. Don't do it.
It's too high, I feel like.
I already have all these unnecessary shiny things.
I'll
I was
take the
given.
shiny thing. What is this?
You have a ring
Mm-hmm.
that would require study to determine.
Have you ever read Lord of the
traits.
Rings?
I was just
Yeah.
going to say,
The freaking one ring.
I
And you're
put this
going
on. Am
down.
I going to turn invisible and become horribly addicted?
Yeah. Yeah.
Malcolm. It's okay. That was Atlantrix. I'm going to Spedikaza anyway. Maul. She sort of Atlantrix looks at Maul. Speak up. And Mary White sort of nods to Atlantrix, and the two of them step away for a moment, and you're left with this child, with the aromatic sage that we've learnt on his attached to his toga, like indigo shawl. Melly, again, his eyes are sort of shut a little bit. Bismuth,
The name.
the other weird with orphans that I lived with.
the halfling.
We lived, thanks to you, for
3. This guy wasn't there.
3. And Nollis and Claro. We stayed with Holm, with Hauser.
Oh.
And his little deer.
Gelly, you birthed that little thing.
Tomty and Beth and Broverbush. We returned to Fossbrock when it was safe to do so. Aaron headed to Equa. Aaron Nordell headed to Equa. He said he was visiting the grave of the most important person in Equa. He was looking for his parents, who were also imprisoned. I'm haunted every day by the death of Badua, Edward, Elizabeth, Gorick, and everybody else. I saw Benji, Derek. He looks up when he says those names. Travelling beneath Wick to the southwest, along the human wall, toward the river. 310 days ago. They're searching for something. I'm not an augur, but I trust these people. They've been kind. You 4, 3, 5 have me. Saved our lives, and I am indebted to you forever.
Benji.
Solon, I trust these people. He turns his back and just takes a few steps away. Elantrix and Mary White turn back around. I will give you one of my best acolytes to travel with. And she gestures towards Moore and she gestures towards Atlanterex. Take my ring, take these 2, go and find the bloodlines. Go and find the chimes, report back to us. You might not be able to do it all, you might not be able to do anything, but you've got a better chance than anybody else I know.
Which direction's Spetagaz?
North.
It's in the complete wrong direction to Benji and Derek. And no offence, but Benji and Derek are where the trouble's at. It's like Team Rocket, you wouldn't get that reference. To be honest. Not frickin' north, south. Spetagaz is going to get you nowhere. If you want to find the truth, you need to be following these chumps.
Yeah. Benji and Derek were at the heart of the battle. We were never quite sure whose side they were on.
Elantrix speaks up. I'm heading north anyway. If you don't need to travel with me, I will head to Spetakaza. Don't worry.
Benji and Derek.
And Mary turns around. I would prefer you to head to Spetakaza to spread the word and to learn more for yourselves, because until you are convinced and have studied the Great Divide, you are no use.
If we go to Spetakaza, may I offer you a suggestion? It may seem rude, but stop looking in books to find the answers to all of these questions that you've read about. The answers you will find will be with Benji and Derek. Reading a book will find you nothing. We've spent months encountering these bastards everywhere, and they're everywhere we go, be it Void, be it this, that and the other, these 2 fellas, always there. Spetikaza
always at
teaches
the
me, I
heart of
think.
the trouble.
Yeah,
if there's something going on there,
If we go to Spetikaza, you must investigate these people.
From the far peripheries of your eyes, you look to the edge of town, and a little brownie's there. And funnily enough, he's waving a little pack just above his head. Doesn't look to be the same one. This one's a little darker skinned, perhaps a little ganglion, tiny bit taller perhaps. And staring back at you, Atlantrix looks across and says, "For goodness sake. Get away with you!" Mary White shouts. And
I like this
it's
guy.
got you realise from behind its back, it produces a little flaming torch. And it's got a pack which looks suspiciously like your pack at the other side there, Malcolm. About 100 feet away. And just turns around in the other direction. Just sort of skips jauntily and merrily away to the periphery, the fringes of the town.
100 feet.
Would you like to take one of my acolytes with you?
Your acolytes would be better spent investigating these people. I think my friends are more competent in combat, as if you believe these people, they fought a god and won. Or your acolyte is sat in a library.
I am heading north, Zolan.
At this point, I'm going to go, "That little bastard's got my pack!" And I'm going to head off. I'm full tilt. I'm after that.
Sure thing. Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, you're heading in that direction.
Yeah, I'm chasing off after
Sure.
this.
He's also running. So you see
Brownie.
Malcolm and the brownie sort of both running in that direction. Ben shouts across. He's like, "If you find your parents towards the mountains." That's not how he sounded. Different voice. If you find your parents towards the mountains.
And the mountains
And he
which direction?
chucks a piece of honeycomb to you as you're running.
Right.
He chucks a piece of honeycomb to you, gives you a little wink. Tell them I say hi.
Right, I'll grab that as I'm running, and I'm chasing after this poxy brownie.
And
Okay.
+5 to your speed.
Sugar rush.
Mary White says, "Before you," but it's too late. For
Too
yourself.
late. I'm
Maul is heading
20 feet away, still
Southwest.
accelerating.
and Atlantrix is heading to the north to Spetikaza. Make your choice. Join us. Come to me with information. Spread the word. Find the bloodlines. Learn more. We believe in you.
I'm only going after the thingy. I'm not.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm planning on coming.
You're already out of earshot. You're out of earshot already.
Then we're going to the bell, right?
I'll go to the bell if they agree to investigate. Would you agree to investigate? Would you agree to do something proactive?
We are educators, but yes, Maul is heading to the
Don't
southwest.
send Maul. These guys are some tough customers.
Don't underestimate him.
So don't underestimate these people.
Maul turns and he bows to each of you.
Can you
The
see
same-
Maul? I'm going to hold fingers up.
4
Okay, alright, I was just checking.
and
Quickly, one more.
8.
Alright. The
He-
white eyes, just wanted to check he could actually see.
Maul,
No
turn-
good sending him for investigation.
Maul turns, he nods to each of you. Thank you. Thank you. You're not there. Thank you. And he turns and a little bag tied to his side heads off to the south.
I'll give him a tinder. Before he goes, I'll give him a tinder box. Has he even got a pack? Has he even got any gear to go adventuring?
Pack.
Has he got a little pack? What's he got in it? This poor lad's gonna get eaten alive. This Mara White's
At the same
a
time,
nasty piece of work. Sending a boy off to
Atlantrix looks at Mary White, sort of grabs her by the hand, clenches it, says farewell to a couple of the other acolytes around her, and heads north, following Malcolm, past kind of Benedaire's shop. Ta-ra!
Which way do we go?
I'd love to go to the tavern and eat before I go on a 10-day journey. I'm really famished.
There is no tavern.
Back at the house. There's still food. There's food back at the house.
I'm sorry, Zolan. But I really gotta go. And he goes, "Woof!" And he runs after Malcolm into danger.
To danger.
Food?
Have you got any food?
And then we join.
Have you got any food?
Yeah, I've got my ration.
I've been
pack,
starving.
so
We've all been starving for 2 years.
As I was running off, I did sort of shout back, "I'll be back." Just
Have we left anything in the house?
Skip them, bro.
Have we left anything in the house? Before we go, can I go and check? Have we left anything in the
We've
house?
got it all with us.
Malcolm staff?
We magically
Malcolm,
have
did,
it all with
did
us
Malcolm
now.
get
I'm
everything?
planning on coming back.
Did he have staff?
I'm only going to chase after the. I'm coming back to the
Malcolm
village.
had none of his
No,
stuff.
I'm gonna go to the house, just check, just actually
This
get
is
some
what
supplies.
we're
I'm
trying
not
to
going on a 10-day walk. Is Elantrix? Does she look
You-
like she's leaving?
You know that
Oh,
I'm
I'm gonna
going
tell her. I'll tell her to wait.
Stuff.
Will she wait if I shout?
Come on, Zolan.
Just need some supplies.
You know that I'm not going to go anywhere without my stuff.
No, that's true. Just wait at the gate.
Zolan,
20 minutes at the
Zolan.
most.
sod off.
They're there. Oh, we were friends.
We are, Zolan. Malcolm, good luck with the brandy problem.
I'm back in a minute.
And you, in a staggered and disjointed fashion, start to head north towards the outskirts of the town, following this brownie. And that is where we'll leave today's session. Well, I'm glad we made it through after that camera disaster midway through. Thank you very much, everyone that joined us tonight. Thank you, Farron.
Thank you all.
Thank you for hanging on as well while we did our technical.
Yeah,
bits, so
yeah.
appreciate it.
Look how ethereal I am.
Yeah, word. Get that shot.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah, we need some camera studies in between now and next week, but we'll get it working hopefully.
We'll put the charger bit in a beer fridge.
Yeah, we think our camera overheated
Oh God, that's
basically.
still in the freezer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, there we are.
Anyway, yeah, really appreciate everyone joining us tonight.
Thank you, everybody.
Today, whatever part of the world you're in. We'll be back same time next week, 7:30 GMT on Tuesday, which is 2:30 PM Eastern States, 11:30 AM Western States. And until next week, we have been... Die!